Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of three opinionated guys with mics and too much free time. Strong enough to stop a speeding movie rumor, more powerful than a bad comic book event, able to waste hours of time asking stupid questions to people who have better things to do. It's Dave, Ben, and John. It's Superhero Speak.
That's right, folks. You heard it here first. Whether or not it's true, it's up to you.
Someone else is
what did I walk in on?
We said if Rusty doesn't show up, we could just talk about him instead of
that
to
works
him.
for me. You know, I've known the guy for years, so hey. You know, we can crack that jar of worms if you want to, but you better hang on for a ride because, you know, it's a big jar.
Yes.
Oh, he's a cat, man. He is a really good guy.
I'm assuming so much. I mean, I like a lot of his Facebook pictures, and he seems like he's a fun guy, but when we started talking about this, he's like, so who else is going to be on the show? And I'm like, well, just you. And he's like, I don't think I'm interesting enough to do a whole show.
You know, he told me that exact thing whenever I set you guys up. You know, when I told him, I said, you know, I think the guys, David and John and Ben may be interested in talking with you, man. And he said, well, you know, about what? I said about comics, of course, you know. So
Well,
cut off the office unit here. Even though we have central air in here, this room doesn't stay cold enough because it's so big. So
yeah.
we have a window unit like right behind my desk. So just a little FYI to throw it out there. So how are you guys doing, man?
Well, doing good.
Yeah, can't complain.
You know, a couple of tornado warnings, like one every couple of days here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're under
interesting.
flooding warnings tonight, flash flood warnings. Unfortunately, due to a big storm coming in late tonight, early tomorrow. And everybody's been a buzz about that. And I was just like, you know, I'm from Texas originally. And
yeah.
you know, it floods out down there like, you know, we're right next to Louisiana. So, you know, it happens. Just deal with it, you know. But
Well, it's just flat. There's nowhere for the water to go. Because I used to live in Northbrook, Houston, and you know I only lived there for like 8 months or so. But
right.
I remember the first real rainstorm, and I walked out the door and into a puddle. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that before. Yeah, it's crazy stuff, man. But you know, Oklahoma's definitely, you know, we've got hills and valleys and things, but here in the metro, it is pretty flat. You know, it's been ground down, so it's one of those deals where people get water filling up at one end of the street, and they'll have to bypass it, and they don't know what to do because they've never seen it before. And it's like it's 6 inches of water. You drive around it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't drive your car through it. And the last thing that we need is these kids with these, you know, little hot rods and stuff because they're big here, like they're becoming everywhere else due to the, you know, Fast and Furious movies and things like that. Yeah, we'll see dead super roller skates everywhere, man. Tomorrow afternoon or the next morning, they'll just be dead on the side of the street everywhere.
You get the Honda with the tricked out rims. The Honda with the tricked out rims, and it's got a quarter inch of clearance. And
yeah.
Well, hey, it's a good jet ski. I mean.
So, well, you know, but, yeah, I've been, this last week, I've been really, really swamped with this new machine. We ordered, a brand new custom built computer, and, unfortunately we went through Staples the first time, and I was just like, okay, great. They had this model online that I really wanted, and the UPS guy dropped the thing off at the wrong house. And of course, when he went back, it was gone. And I was like, great. So we had to get a refund and get a new one. Now, hopefully, with all the good faith and luck of the universe here, in Comnicdom, we won't fall off anymore. So, this new machine has been like a dream. I did see a new trailer that I wanted to run by you guys too. A new Fantastic Four trailer that was running here specifically, with Jurassic World. They got a brand new they surprised us with a brand new Fantastic Four trailer and a sneak peek of some stuff, some behind the scenes stuff that they're doing with, the Guardians of the Galaxy next appearance because, you know, Chris is in Jurassic World and, they wanted to cross promote. Man, I tell you what, the new thing just looks horrible. They're going with a Sandman effect with him. I knew they were doing the mental powers with Johnny Storm where he doesn't actually catch on fire, but he lights the atmosphere around him on fire,
Right.
the molecules around him. And Sue Storm was going to be completely mental as well. And then they changed it to where she was going to have her power generated from a force field of a suit that she controlled with her mind.
Sorry, that hurts. Just go ahead. Did we lose you?
Space.
I just don't understand why.
It's just horrible, man. It's just horrible.
I don't understand why Thing doesn't have any pants.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's this beautiful transition scene where they actually crash in the alternate dimension, and he stands up out of the rubble, and you see him transform. You see his body transform into rock, and he disintegrates, and then comes back up as the Thing. And when he stands up, it's the first back shot of him looking at the crashed ship or device or whatever they use to go to make the transfer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big four-fingered, larger than life, bare butt of rock.
So it's a literal butt crack.
Oh yeah, I mean cheeks and all. And I was like, wow.
Sorry,
like,
man.
You're kidding me.
What is this? They're just making this movie just to keep the franchise, right? Is that
it? I think they're fighting it from that side. David is an advocate of leaving it alone, and I totally agree. That's just hardcore, man. I mean, I knew Fox was going to make a lot of changes, but they ran so far left with it. It is just not the same creation anymore. They said they were going to take it away from Marvel and make their own version of it. And boy, have they. Oh, it's just horrible. And, I don't know if you guys have seen the new Doctor Doom or not. You guys know he's going to be a blogger, hacker,
yes.
Type of thing. But, after he gets burned, they show a clip of him in the new trailer after he gets burned and takes on the armor, and he looks like a baked potato. Literally, he looks like a baked potato. It's the weirdest thing. He looks like a big, just glob there.
Is this going to be like the first movie about Marvel characters that Stan Lee doesn't have a cameo in out of disgust?
Oh, you know what? I did not see. I can't speak for him, of course, but that's greatness. So you don't speak for him anyway. But still, it's one of those things. That's like mom and dad's room when you're a kid. You don't go that past that line. But I didn't see a cameo. If he's in there, I didn't see it. And but I was so beside myself at the end of that. I was like, sitting there telling my wife about it, and I was just like, she goes, this is the new Fantastic Four. And I said, I hope not. But, I said, I don't know what that was, but it's not the FF. And I was just so disgusted. It messed with me the whole rest of the actual movie because it was a trailer beforehand.
Right.
So,
and it's just one of those things you kind of hope. Part of you goes, you know what? I hope it does fail so that Marvel can get them back,
Well, you'd think so, except look at the last two, and, they still kept it. I guess it still made money, but it can't be, the margin can't be very good on them right now. And with this one, the way they're changing, this is like what they tried to do with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, making them aliens and stuff. I mean, you got to wonder if they're going to make last-minute changes because of the outcry of the fandom.
Yeah, and left but the bad thing was they left the rest of the script. Oh, that movie was horrible. I did love the effects of the movie, and it was a great change, and it was a great action movie for what it was. But that new Ninja Turtles movie had no story whatsoever. I mean, it didn't have. I mean, you guys saw it. It didn't have any story or heart whatsoever. It was just ridiculous.
And the way they did Shredder was just. I mean, he had no motivation and. It's just, and they had added on the Chinese guy doing, the Shredder visage in the background at the last minute. Originally, it was supposed to be the other guy, the white guy.
Right. Like, yeah. I caught that too, and I was like, did they just switch villains? It was a bad deal. I've got a 10-year-old daughter, as you guys know, and she watched that film and she watched about 5 minutes of it. And she goes, Daddy, can I tell you something? And without you getting mad. And I said, sure. She goes, this sucks. I was like, I am so glad I didn't take her to the theater to see this.
I have taught you well, Padawan.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I gave it a slim hope to see if it was going to go on. But, then of course you guys know the end result. I also got feedback on the new Prometheus movie coming out, and I am all about that one as well. I mean, not that I want to stay on movies the whole time. I'm just conversing with you guys, as you know.
We should like record this if we're gonna keep
Oh,
going.
it's already recording. It's always
Okay.
recording.
Excellent.
Yes, we can call this one waiting for Godot. This is waiting for Rusty.
Yeah. So Brad, continue, please.
Yeah, well, the new Prometheus movie, as you guys know, Ridley Scott's put in over the years a bunch of crossover, and he said he wanted to make the ultimate sci-fi movie. And he's put in plugs in Blade Runner for the Weyland Foundation that created the androids. Then you've got we got a Blade Runner cross, we've got Aliens, we've got a Predator cross, we've even got a Stargate reference for the Naquadah mines.
You kidding me?
Oh no! If you pay attention to the last Alien movie that Sigourney Weaver was in, where they took back to Earth, I don't remember if it was which one it was. Resurrection, I think it was, where they brought Wrigley back to life. If you remember the little guy with the glasses, that was the miner they woke up that had the alien bust out of his chest and kill the scientist. He made a Naquadah mining reference. He was a geologist. He was a geologist for the Weyland Corporation.
Damn. Well, I mean, we fans live and breathe on that stuff. But if you're going, but then you do something like have two people run from a ship that is slowly rolling towards them, and they don't do the 90-degree turn, and that kind of kills it for us.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. But there were so many, technical flaws with that stuff because of the story being so deep, and they just wanted to get the story done at that point. They had a lot of stuff playing off of it, and the implants for those story series are just insane when you put them all together, because if they pull it off, this Prometheus movie is going to cross over like 5 or 6 different franchises and bring them all together. You guys know who the space jockeys are, right? The little elephant head aliens that they make reference to and show one picture of in I believe it was Aliens that they made the reference of when they went into the terraformed unit. In the background, one of the monitors had one of the space jockeys on it, showing the aliens setting it up. And these are the guys that go around setting up the terraform units for Earth. So, yeah, and they're mentioned in all of the Predator and Alien comic books and that thread. But yeah, they mentioned them in Prometheus and made a mislead that that the big white genetic humanoid beings in the original Prometheus movie were supposed to be the space jockeys, and they're not. They are actually the genetic soldiers of the actual space jockeys that they're going to mention in this new movie, hopefully. So, there is so much wrapped up in that new one. If it makes it to screen, like they say, and they don't kill the budget because it's so massive, we're going to see a trilogy out of it. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, I think this should be interesting. Speaking interesting, did either of you see this rumor? And this is just a rumor at this point. Nothing solid has come out. That Marvel and Fox are talking about doing an X-Men movie together.
Hasn't anybody learned about what happens when you work with Fox? Anybody? Just ask Joss Whedon about that. Jeez.
Well, yeah, I've heard a little bit about it on the grapevine, and I've heard that there is some fact to it, that they are in negotiations through specific executives that I know. But other than that, though, it is only on the negotiation table as far as I've been told and found fact to. But the rumor is getting spun really, really strong that there's going to be a new one after the Age of Apocalypse, and I'm hoping so. But if they go the route they're going to go, Fox is going to tear it apart. And no offense to Fox, but we know how they are with the movies. They want to hold on to their own thread, and they keep yanking on that cord, but that chute just won't pop, and they keep bouncing across the ground, and then they get in another plane and go back up, and they pull the cord again. But
yeah, the rumor
go ahead.
The rumor is that they're going to do the Avengers versus the X-Men based on the books from the comics,
and do all new Avengers, like all different
Well, I don't think it would be all new Avengers. I think it
No.
would be, but you would end up getting a lot of the X-Men recast at that point, just like they're doing with
talking
Spider-Man.
about crossing it over. Yeah, they're talking about crossing it over and using the existing Avengers franchise and banking off of that to tie them into it. But what they do understand, and what the board on the other side at Disney does understand as well, is Marvel and Disney understand that they're not stupid, and they're not going to give Fox another foothold in the say of that franchise. Duh. Yeah. So, I doubt this is going to happen that way, because where I've been hearing they're leaning, the rumors in the fan world say that they're going with the X versus A books, or A versus X, either way. The problem is that the actual franchise is being negotiated, from what I understand, about X-Men Evolution, and they're going to cross it over into the new generation and bring in other Marvel characters from the Avengers, the extended Avengers like Ant-Man and things like that. But they can't get their hands on the actual Avengers franchise. Disney won't let it go. And I don't blame them.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I don't like the way Disney handles certain things, keeping Fox away from the crown jewels at this point can only be a good thing.
Well, that's basically you grow this that's like growing a beautiful garden, and you build it up, and then you take pictures of it and you show everybody, and then you let the one guy in that's smoking and knows he's going to flick the butt in it and set it on fire.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
Maybe that rumor is a trial balloon. Maybe it's like Fox trying to gin up something to take back to Disney and say, "Hey, look, see, all these people want this, so let's do it." Right?
I think it's a foothold to get marketing. I think it's a publicity stunt, as far as I'm concerned. I think what they're doing is exactly that. I think they're trying to get promotion for the FF movie and people to pay attention to what they're doing, because they can't get it otherwise.
They do realize that the more attention they have on the FF movie, the worse it's going to be, right?
Well, again, we're talking about who here?
Yeah, true.
Can we say the name Fox, class?
So, real quick, since we're pretty far into this, for anyone who's wondering what's going on, you are listening to Superheroes Speak. We are supposed to be interviewing Rusty Gilligan tonight, who is a friend of Brad, who's with us tonight. And he's not here, and he hasn't shown up. He hasn't answered any of my email or my text, so we don't know what's going on with him.
We're okay, though. He if he's got something going, that's fine.
Right. If he has something going on, that's fine. But as they always say in show business, the show must go on. So,
especially since we don't have anything for Wednesday.
Exactly.
Right.
Dead air is bad air.
Exactly. So we're just going to keep going on with this conversation. So yeah, definitely. You don't let Fox near the crown jewels. I like that line.
You know what? I'll tell you, this is what makes me sad. I am more hyped for Screw Attack's death battle of Darth Vader versus Doctor Doom than I am for the Fantastic Four movie.
That's so true.
The 17 minutes of that video on YouTube is going to be better than if you took that movie and made it twice as long.
This is how I can sum up my feelings on the new Fantastic Four movie. When they announced the cast, it's like, they seem kind of young. I don't like the fact that they're going with the adopted sister thing with Johnny Storm and Sue Storm, but fine. Maybe if it's a good story, I'll let it slide. And then we saw pictures being released. There was pictures of Doctor Doom and pictures of the models for Thing and all released, and I'm like, all right, well, let's wait till we see the trailers, and I'm sure my mind will change once we get there. And my God, no, it's only gotten worse. Everything that's come out that I've seen about this movie, it's getting worse and worse and worse. It's just like, I don't think anyone's going to go see this movie.
And that's kind of sad. I mean, it's like you said, you give these things a chance, but there are certain things. I mean, what you got three strikes. You got Fox is putting it out. You've got a cast of people. Yes, a 22-year-old can be, a graduate of 5 different colleges and be the smartest man in the world. Sure, right. No experience whatsoever. And then changing all of the things that make them the Fantastic Four.
Right.
It's a recipe.
And I'm
Not a
telling
very
you,
good one.
man, I know we come back to this again. I'm gonna throw it up every time someone mentions this from now on. One, this is a huge thing for me. Thing has 4 fingers, which is not trademarked, and then you have no pants, and then you have Sandman powers. What is the deal with that? And I know it's ridiculous because it's just no pants, but come on, it just drives me nuts. It's not the characters that I know.
Right.
Yeah.
So and the big problem I have with it is he's got Sandman style powers, so he can manipulate it, and he's not just Ben Grimm, the Rock Man that we know. It's a Sandman type thing where he can just engorge himself to be whatever size he wants to be, and suck up whatever surrounding earth he wants to be, and he can turn himself into different things like a sandstorm and this, that, and the other from what I saw. And it just looks like, ridiculousness. Cause he looked like a landslide. And I mean, to be ridiculous within sci-fi is ridiculous within itself. They have reached a whole new level of just off stupid.
Yeah, and just remember, the powers that they had were supposed to represent aspects of their personalities,
Right.
I mean, Sue Storm felt like a nobody, and so she turns invisible, and Johnny Storm was a hothead, and of course he's got fire. So, and that goes with the normal Marvel storytelling of it's not just about huge battles, it's about people and their foibles and their flaws, and they've basically completely ignored that and gone for the Michael Bay effect.
I knew he was going to throw that card. I was waiting for it.
Well, it is, it's like, well, instead of character development, let's make it explode. So
that's what people want, are explosions. Okay,
man. You're spot on though. That's the funny thing, John. You're right on there, man. It's just, and I'm this FF version scares the crap out of me because I think they're going to cross a whole new line. Because Sony has just agreed to have the Spider-Man reboot, as we all know. They're rebooting the original storyline from the Tobey Maguire type movies and going in that direction. They're going to revamp it to a younger stage to where they can bring him into this universe as we know it for the Marvel standing universe right now. As mucked up as it is itself, they're going to go with a different movie route. The guy is supposed to be 16 and starting out with the traditional origin of what Stanley produced. However, my concern is when they cross over, what are they going to do as far as the sexual orientation and things like that? Because I know that's a huge rumor right now. If you guys heard anything or found anything solid on that, because since Stan complained publicly, they've backed way off.
Yeah, no, I think at least for since they're going Peter Parker, they're going to keep him straight. They're going to keep keep him Caucasian, as it were. Right. A thought that actually occurred to me today, with what's going on in the comic books with the Secret Wars and them combining the universes now, and as we discussed on the show last week about. Now you're going to have a bunch of Spider characters all in the 616 universe. The main thing you're going to have is Miles Morales and Peter Parker working together, for a
short time until they finalize it into the new Disneyized Marvel universe. Yeah.
Well, okay.
We all know what's going to happen, man. You give it 6 to 12 months, and I guarantee you they're going to isolate it to where they have their own new version, and it's going to be Peter Parker no more.
Well, we'll see how well it does, but I think my guess is Marvel's doing it to leave a door open so they can introduce Miles and Peter together in their universe, in the movie universe, and try to make everyone happy as opposed to just listening to one voice versus the other group of people,
Right.
So, yeah, I know that Disney's having more of a hand in what they're doing now. I've heard lots and lots of rumblings from people I know, but we'll see. Eventually they'll all be wearing mouse ears, and and all the female characters will be princesses. But that's we're not there yet.
Well, I'm sorry, but the web of Spider Mouse is just not no. No, we had Spider Ham a few years back, and I thought that was a great parody, but no. Yeah, Spider Mouse, No, it's not going to work.
No.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider Mickey. No. This doesn't have that same ring to it.
No.
Well, look at the bright side. DC's coming out. Never mind. They're not coming out with anything.
Well, think about it. If they'd actually absorbed Warner Brothers like they wanted to originally as well, because Disney went after Warner Brothers as well. If they'd absorbed both of those properties, can you imagine what we'd have? We'd have a cross between Daffy Duck and Donald Duck facing off, and one of them would be in a Superman outfit and the other one would be in a Spider-Man outfit. Where's the world coming to? It's going to turn me into Lewis Black is what it's going to do.
I don't know.
I'm going to get fingered.
You know what? The next convention you go to, there'll be so many Thor Superman cosplayers, you just would not be able to deal with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm just going to get that stressed index finger. Yeah, you guys are screwing with stuff.
I think though, if you looked at it in a positive light, you could have the Marvel versus DC movie that everyone really wants.
And that would be, where is that light shining so I can flip it on?
Well, Disney has to buy Warner Brothers first.
Well, go ahead and state it. I mean, put it out there.
State what?
What movie would that be?
That would be, I'm saying if Disney, did buy Warner Brothers, they would have the ability to do that. Every once in a while, they've had crossover events with Marvel and DC where they did the universes versus each other.
Oh, but then it would be much more prevalent, which would make it much less special, and then you'd have all the foil covers again.
You miss the foil covers, don't you, John?
Yes, they were shiny.
You collected all the amalgam covers, didn't you? Admit it.
In the 90s, I did get just about everything that came out.
Man, why did you put fuel on that fire?
Because I was young and I was making money and I didn't know how to save it.
And you just wanted to throw it away. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I'm sorry,
then,
John. I don't mean to pick on you.
No. It really the late 80s, early 90s is that time period between. It's that no man's land of
it was the comic
just before
revival. I know.
Yeah, well, it was the revival, but just before it, you could buy comics with the idea of saving them and them being worth more later.
Right. It was before the storm. Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end of that, everybody was buying. There's a number one. Give me 50 copies of that. And don't touch them. Make sure they're in the Mylar bag with no acid on them and the backer, so that I can put them in my safety deposit box for 40 years. You can't really collect comics anymore unless you find some really obscure title and hope.
I think part of the problem was, it's funny talking about the speculator market in comics. When people talk about it, they always talk about the Golden Age books. Superman Action Comics #1 and the introduction of Batman and Detective Comics and even Amazing Fantasy 15 and these comics went for lots of money and that's what made them people started to think, all of a sudden got interested in comics again. But they forget when it happened was in the 80s we had The Killing Joke, which was a super popular comic that they weren't expecting it to be that big, but it's because you had Barbara Gordon getting crippled. You had Death in the Family, where they killed off Jason Todd, Robin, and that, again, another, something DC tried. It became super popular, and the first run of it sold out, but they weren't printing, millions of books. They were printing, enough to fill the audience that they had at the time.
Less than 50,000 back then, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then, so it was a few good stories that caught the media's attention, and then that's why people got interested, and then it just became, oh, well, let's have another stunt.
Yeah.
Right. And then it led up to Superman's Dead and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. That's
50,000 different covers of that one, and whatnot. Yeah.
That's when I knew we were in trouble because, not only did they kill off Superman, which you knew they were going to bring him back, they release it in a bag to protect it. It's oh, come on.
Yep. With limited edition 4 sequenced cards for all the different Supermen. Yeah, that you had to buy a different cover to get a different colored bag to get, and actually like a dope, I have all 4 of them, but
I believe I have 20 of each in my basement right now.
but I didn't know if the cards were gonna make it, so I bought one of each and had them in. I've got them in my personal collection here, but they came out with 4 different colored Mylar bags, and I believe it was black, green, red, and blue. And they had a different Superman card inside of them. And, I almost went nuts trying to get the cards outside of the bag because I wanted to see the cards, because I'm a big collector of cards and stuff like that. Or was at the time. It's just, I almost beat myself against a wall because it's, just boom, boom, boom. I want this thing to open. Come on, just mysteriously tear. Come on, give me a reason to get the card. But, I remember, the early to mid 90s was a really weird range in comic books. And it was they say, there's a lot of guys and naysayers out there that scream, this is a disposable medium. It's a disposable entertainment because it is a magazine as it's classified. Yes. But the thing is, we were publishing hundreds and thousands of comic books at a time in volumes that we'd never seen before. And when X-Men number 1 through 5 with Jim Lee, when he revamped it to the second volume, man, that went nuts. Because he caught, I think it was 1.8 million copies for the first one, but it was 5 variant covers.
Yes.
Is what shot that up there. And everybody was like, well, if they're going to buy all these cover colors and, get, the red, the blue, the black, and whatever else they had, it's Superman's Dead, predecessor. And everybody was running around trying to connect these things because they made one big print and poster. You have no idea how many times the guys that I knew were ripping the covers off and posting them up on their wall just for the poster prints. And it was just crazy. They ended up with number 5 selling at, I think, 870,000+ copies. Right. And it didn't have a variant. It didn't have a variant. It had Omega Red getting taken down by Wolverine.
And here's the thing, I have a piece of information that I was trying to not share on the show, but it ties into this conversation so well.
You can't help it.
So we all know that at the end of Secret Wars, we're going to have the all new, all different Marvel, and they're going to release 60 number 1s, and I already know that they're planning on a bunch of variants for each of the number 1s.
Son of a...
Really?
Yes, you have to get the gold, silver, and the limited edition platinum covers.
Hey, John, I just say we get Ben and we all get together and go to Dave's house and we each take turns thumping him for each cover variation that comes out.
There you go.
Throw that out there, man.
All I know is that a friend of
for
mine.
Anybody listening, that's a joke, not a threat. I'm not going to hurt David.
All I know is a friend of mine who is a cover artist. Was offered one of the variants, and he's not doing it, by the way. And
on purpose, or
on purpose. Yeah, and apparently, like
no more.
Yeah, that's like one of like 4 different variants they're planning for these number 1s. It's like, really, we went through this already. I mean, I know it worked for DC when they released their number 1s.
No, it didn't.
Yeah. The number 1s all sold really well, and then it died after that for some of the books. But yeah.
Nobody can afford to buy number 2 and 3 because they bought 4 versions of number 1.
So Marvel obviously just wants to trap that lightning in a bottle again, but it's like, come on. No, we don't want that. Just give us good stories.
But see, that's the thing, though. If they want to use your statement and catch the lightning, first thing they got to do is put out good stories. Just put out simple, classic, solid comic books, and you'll be fine.
I mean, how many amazing Spider-Man number 1s have there been in the past decade?
Well, I've got a couple of Spider-Man number 1s in my basement.
We're on
not amazing.
70 now, yeah.
Right. No, but I'm saying, like, we had the if anyone remembers, they had kind of like changed things and they did a new volume.
Yep.
It was probably late 90s, early 2000s, and they started numbering it again. Amazing Spider-Man, right. And that lasted, I want to say, maybe a year, and then they were like, okay, we're just going to go back to the original numbering.
that was where they said it was a sideline mishap because that was the end of the Clone Saga.
That's right.
And,
That's what it was.
They had that big yellow cover #1, Amazing Spider-Man, and they wanted to reboot the series back to welcome back Peter Parker, and it was like, what?
Right. And then
It went to like you're right, it went to like number 3 or 4. I have all of them and I enjoyed the story in them, but they needed to reboot it to say it was a sidestep to bring Peter Parker back, so that they said they did that because they wanted to bring Aunt May back into the continuity, which was ridiculous. Why didn't they just reset it? But
and then when they killed Peter, had the Superior Spider-Man, and then they brought Peter back, they had Amazing Spider-Man #1 again.
Right.
And now
why not just pick it up and bring him back and say he's back and leave it at the issue it's at?
Right, because people see #1 and want to buy it, but it means nothing if it's the 5th #1 in the run of the book.
But the guys collecting it are going, oh crap, they're going to mess up. We got to earmark the continuity in the file boxes so we know where we're at. What comes after this one? 582 and then Superior Spider. What the,
Yes.
But as you guys can tell, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with you guys on this show because I know my boundaries here. And I tell you what, I am stretching my limits because I'm cracking heads right now. I'm very politically driven behind comic books. In the market itself, I put my name out there and say, okay, these are the kind of comics I'm publishing. These are the kind of comics that...
Uh-oh.
Give it a second.
Oh, no.
They're begging for new books of quality. Just simple stuff. And if you're not going to get back to it, then there's a problem.
Right. We missed a couple seconds of that.
Yeah, that's not a drop this time. That was because I let my new PC fall asleep. That's my fault.
It needed a nap.
Yeah, it was my fault. I haven't changed my power settings yet. Yeah, that one was on me. We didn't lose connection.
Our computer's tired.
Yeah. It hasn't gotten in the groove yet. It hasn't gotten on my timetable. 20 hours on, 4 hours off, maybe. So it likes to go to sleep once in a while and take a little cat nap when it thinks I'm not paying attention. But you got to wake up. You're the workhorse now. So anyway. But as far as the editors go, man, people need to get up there and just wake up and say, we're in charge. We need to get a foothold on this and save the market. Because by holding off with all these new startups, I've said it time and time again, these guys are going to kill the industry. We need a new format, and everybody wants a rebellion and an uprising. And I am definitely one of the activist people for it.
Right.
So I've even been called a protagonist in the world of comic books because I step up and say things that nobody else will. Well, I don't care.
That's how you get in trouble. Come on.
No, there's no fun in it, man. You got to run in the room and scream fire. So,
So what do you
especially
think
with a bunch of guys sitting around comic books.
What do you think of the trailers for Ant-Man?
I'm loving it, man. I want to see it. I'm glad they went the new direction, and I think Michael Douglas's version of Pym is going to be great. I think the new character they're pulling in from the alternate universe is going to be awesome, the Ultimate Universe. But I hope they don't go with the wife beater scenario.
Yeah,
I don't.
He got pretty rough in there,
I can't see the mouse doing that.
Yeah, I like the burglar aspect of it, where he was busted for B&E and trying to reform his life. I think that's going to be a great thing. I don't think that the movie is going to be as well accepted at first. I think it's going to be a lot bigger in DVD sales once people realize what it is.
I hope not. I hope this does the same thing that Guardians of the Galaxy did, where it's just by word of mouth. Everybody's like, "Hey, let's go see this now before it comes out."
Well, the big thing is, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there.
Oh no, it's fine. It's just that's all I really had to say. It's just if this is as good as it looks, and they keep the same writing that they've had with the rest of these movies,
right?
We should wind up with something that's going to be surprisingly good.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to go that direction. I think they've gotten a feel for it now, and they know the pacing of what people are really grooving with. And I think Ant-Man's going to be a huge reflection of that. I really, really do. And the effects are getting phenomenal. They're cleaning them up a lot more where it's harder and harder to tell the green screen stuff. And I really like that. Like the guys in the suits when they're supposed to be, micronized, when they show the close-ups, it doesn't look CGI as much anymore as it used to. It's not like the original Hulk film where it was just horrible. It looked like he stepped out of a video game running around.
Ooh,
And
there's a cameo, the Micronauts. I want to see the Micronauts in this.
Oh, jeez.
Like in a cameo in the background. Sorry.
Right.
and see, you John already mentioned it. If you watch,
I just blew your...
the trailer 3, they have a hint at that because Michael Douglas mentions Micronaut technology.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I'm ahead of my time. I figured that out myself.
Oh. And a little full of yourself.
Well, you've seen that communicate that interaction between him and Judd where they're talking about why me, and he says, well, I've spent my whole life developing the Micronaut technology, and you're the man that's going to fill it.
Yes.
Which sounds kind of perverse when you actually think about it, but we won't go there.
Well, yes.
So we'll leave that alone.
There's the other rumor, though, that he has that one line where he says, I've been watching you for a long time. And for some reason, that seems to have spawned a lot of rumors about he's actually, like, Ant-Man has actually been in the past Avengers movies somehow. And
right. He was actually a spy. They've hinted at he was a Secret Service spy, that Pym actually was a Secret Service spy with the original technology.
So... maybe we get to see like battles going on in the background. Maybe it would be really nice for them to start it with, him doing stuff with the battles from the past movies going on in the background.
So what they're going to do, right? Once Marvel gets past Phase 3, they're going to re-release the special edition versions of all the movies. They're going to go the Star Wars route. And they're going to
have all those crossovers, and we're all
exactly.
They'll
add Ant-Man in the background. Yes, and they'll add. You'll see Spider-Man swinging through some of the scenes in the movies.
Oh my goodness, that's classic.
It's going to happen. I'm sorry, it's Marvel.
My goodness, it'll be the Marvel '80s set. 16 days of blood-curdling CDs. We can't even afford to do them on DVDs anymore, but we're going to give you CDs to make it more fun.
Yes, and they'll be on the opposite side of the old AOL CDs because they've got a surplus of those hanging around.
But along the lines of the special,
do you think there'd be like after you, sir?
I was going to say along the lines of the special effects for Ant-Man, it's funny where. When I'm watching it, like all the scenes with the ants and them fighting, like looks really good. The scene in the bathtub, I don't know if you've seen that one. He looks really good, but like the plug and stuff kind of looked fake. So I'm hoping they clean that up.
Well, yeah, it looked like a superimposed image. Yeah. I'm hoping they'll do that. I'm hoping that's a leader type of situation, and they're going to fix that in the actual movie. And also, I'm hoping that's just a low res drag.
Yeah, and also with your point too about the Guardians of the Galaxy, like there's a lot of people who are saying like, oh, they did, they took Guardians of the Galaxy that nobody knew, and they made this great movie that did extremely well, but it was a larger than life, space opera kind of thing, where Ant-Man, pun intended, is a much smaller movie. In scale. So,
right.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think the humor hopefully will sell it.
But you think everybody is underestimating Judd.
But you both talked at the same time. What?
Yeah, yes, go ahead, Con.
It was a race. I think he won though. I'm just wondering if things go well with Phase 3, do you think there'll be a Phase 4?
I don't know how far their plans go out, and I do think if they get like 2 or 3 movies in a row that fail, they'll probably change their plans. I don't know if they would stop, but I think they would change what they're doing.
They're booked out right now. Currently, they're booked out to 2024.
Yeah. I mean,
2024.
I think the beauty with having plans out that long is it lets them say, okay, this movie flopped. We can adjust our plans, 3 movies down the road to maybe clean up some of those issues.
Well, I think personally they're going to take the Disney Marvel crossover approach, which is to take the 18 months of comic book prep, and they're putting it into 18 years of movie prep. So we're going to see what we get out of it no matter what, and I don't know if it's going to survive. They're going to produce whatever they put out no matter what, and people are either going to see it or they're not. And I think they've already put the plan in motion to let it happen as it happens and see where the chips may fall. And as long as the money's making the top billing that they need to cover their costs, they're going to keep going.
Right. And that's an important point too, the cover to the cost. I mean, they've made so much money so far on these movies. They'd have to have a few in a row that fail for them to stop, not just one.
They got to cover Johnny Depp's fees from the Lone Ranger, because I'm sorry. And that movie was great for what it was, but it was not the Lone Ranger that I expected, nor did anybody else expect. I mean, it was, it's like Ben Affleck's Daredevil. He even came out, he and Michael Clark Duncan said before he passed away that was not the same movie they signed on and did. The movie they made ended up on the editing floor. And that was the reason he wanted to cross over and do Batman, because they wanted to do the movie that he wanted to do. Not to mention the fact that he signed on for the next 3 movies for Batman individual solo movies, but we won't go there.
So Batman versus Superman is the movie he deserves, not the one that he needed.
Well, I think that's a little bit of a teeter, balance there, because it's a teeter-totter balance because of the fact that he did need it to revive it. He's had a lot of adult drama movies, like, Argo and a couple of other movies that went over really, really well. And then, as far as an action star goes, he hasn't done anything that's really, really taken off.
Well, and he's breaking up with Jennifer Gardner too.
Well, they're doing the Kurt Russell Goldie Hawn thing. They're going to be living together now, apparently, to take care of the kids and be better parents. And just, they say it expands their relationship and all that. But I'm not them, so whatever choice they decide to make, awesome. But as long as he keeps on the Batman thing and it doesn't jack with it and start saying, Jennifer left me, start, as long as we don't go that route and Batman start crying on the suit and things, we'll be all right. We'll be all right, getting the steering wheel sticky, because it's, saline tears and whatnot. But, yeah, I think we'll be fine. But he's like, I can't get out of the suit. I cried in here. But, I also saw, speaking of which, I saw Henry Cavill in the new promo for The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yes.
That looks phenomenal. I mean, not to make a hard switch on John there, but we can stay on B versus S, no problem. But I just had that cross my mind there, and I wanted to put that out there. The dude looks awesome.
Yeah.
I loved that original series. I caught it in reruns, of course. I'm not quite that old enough to catch it originally, but no offense to anybody that did, but I still loved it. And I was a huge fan of that series. And I'm glad to see they made a good movie out of it, because it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen anything for it?
I saw, I did see the preview for it. I mean, it looks good. It's, we'll see. I don't know if it's, unfortunately, anymore. I'm real picky about what I go to the theater to see. So that might have to wait for DVD. Sorry, Henry.
That's it. That one, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is one of the few TV series that I never actually picked up on. So
shame on you.
I know. I think I was watching Dark Shadows at the time in Doctor Who or something, and
you were watching the Vampire Boom Mike special. Are you kidding me?
Well, I was into a lot of weird things back then.
Well, now you have to go see if it's on Netflix and binge watch it.
Yeah, do yourself a favor, man, because it's a great series. It's a great series. I'm the same way with you, Dave. I've been watching what's coming out and stuff, and I have no inkling to see the new Terminator movie. So sorry, Arnold. I know you got the kid. I don't want to get personal, but I know you got the kid to pay for. So, but dude, no, I'm sorry.
Nice.
That thing looks just god awful. Then on top of that, we've got Spy. I love Melissa McCarthy. I'm gonna watch that, but it will be a DVD special for me. I will not go to the theater to see that one, even if Jason Statham's in it or not, because anything with him in it is going to rock, but still not going to happen. Then you got a couple other things coming out. There is also a new one that John will really get a kick out of. There's a new Star Wars trailer, and it's a secret trailer. And they did not let me know it was going to come out, and they slapped me with it when I was watching the end of Jurassic World. And I was like, okay, is there going to be anything at the end of this? Because they said wait for the movie because for a special announcement, blah blah blah. And it blew my mind, man. I can't describe it. It's the first real clip of the interior of the Millennium Falcon, and it is phenomenal.
I think John's
and I mean, it lasts like 10
I think
seconds.
that's going to blow everything else away. That's definitely going to blow everything else away. If they do that right, and it's going to be actually hard to do those movies wrong, considering. But if they do those really right, that's going to blow everything else away. I cannot wait to see those.
I'm waiting for DVD for those. No.
What? He's been scorned by Jar Jar Binks.
No,
most of us have.
With the no, definitely. God, I now have to look and see if I can find that online somewhere. But I agree with you about
the thing is, I don't think they were supposed to do it. I don't think they were supposed to release it at the theater yet.
Well, someone had to have taped it. But speaking of Genesis, it's funny.
It's on Netflix.
It's Genesis, damn it! I don't know how do you pronounce it. I can't tell.
I was talking to some people over the weekend about it, and I said, it looks interesting because they seem to have gone the Star Trek reboot direction with it a little bit, where they kind of changed the original movie, and
so they have old Spock in it too.
No, they have old Arnold. Or the old Terminator, but that was the thing with that was they made an interesting point though. They're like, if they were going to do that though, they should have, even though Arnold Schwarzenegger, blah 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 blah, he was the Terminator, they should have recast him, because it doesn't make sense.
If you change the future and change everything, how is that the one thing that doesn't change?
Right? How come they said it doesn't make sense that he aged? It just doesn't. It really doesn't work, Yeah, and.
Well, there's okay. Here's the thing. All right, the critics have already been chewing this apart too. But I'll spoiler for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. I did get the insight on this. Here's the thing with the Schwarzenegger storyline of him aging. He came back prior, right before the original Terminator appeared in the original timeline, and came back years earlier to help Sarah Connor grow up and understand what's going on with her. And he aged hiding on the planet, waiting for the Terminator to come back so that when Skynet launched the attack, he would be there to protect him. And that's the reason he's so old now. He actually, his genetic material actually aged.
And then they skipped, apparently there's was it the original series? Like a time machine was there was only one or something, and they were incredibly hard to make. And now in this new series, everybody's got a time machine, and apparently at one point they jumped from the 80s to the 2000s, and he doesn't jump with them, and so he ages even more between those two times.
Right. There's a drastic time lapse. Yeah. And like I said, I haven't even seen this movie yet, and I've caught it from the trailers and from the reviews. And I mean, they've spilled the whole story, so I was just like,
Well, right, but it was actually my brother-in-law I was talking to about this, and my nephew pointed out, it's like, yeah, but in Terminator 2, when they're driving along and he's talking to the kid, he says that he'll never age. So, because it's artificial skin, so it's like,
right, his organic systems don't age. Yeah,
right. So they went against their own continuity, their own
well,
story.
They did that because of the fact that he couldn't charge himself. And what they're saying now is that the nuclear battery inside of him is dying off, and it actually over time irradiated the nanites that kept that flesh alive. So now he's starting to age, is what they're saying that result is. Wow, which again is a far-fetched,
Rube Goldberg would be proud of them for that.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, even if any of it, does play out the way they say it's going to, man, it's just, I don't know. They just should have left it alone. I'm sorry. It just doesn't resonate with me. And I'm a hardcore Terminator fan. And, I'm just glad as a finishing note to round out the movie stuff, I'm just glad that they didn't put in that plug somewhere into the Prometheus line.
I was about to say the only way they could do it right now is like, and I believe they had comic books that were like Terminator versus Alien, didn't they?
Yeah,
yes.
They had Terminator. Dark Horse had Terminator versus the Predator and versus Aliens. Yeah,
and the Thing was in there
RoboCop.
too.
Yeah,
They had Terminator versus everyone, I think.
Yeah, he's gone pretty much toe to toe with everybody except Wolverine, because you know where that would go. Either he would cut his head off, and we'd have to revamp Wolverine again, or you know, he would lop his head off or his arm off, and then we'd have, you know, the Terminators running around as replacements for the Sentinels.
There you go.
So you know it's going to happen and now that I've said something, Marvel editors going, "Hey man, that's me." We got to schedule that thing.
They already had a Terminator versus Superman, so we know they actually had that one.
Wow,
Yes.
that's something. I learned something new right there. Wow, I did not know that.
Superman versus Terminator: Death to the Future. I knew I remembered seeing it. I just had to look it up.
Oh my!
I might have that one down in my basement too, because otherwise I wouldn't have remembered it. But yeah, they had that one too. Apparently, it was a couple of issues.
John's procuring a bunch of black mold down in his basement. He's growing a farm.
Yeah. No. They've all got the double acid-free Mylar covers with the acid-free backing.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Especially the Gaiman stuff.
And it's a special safe that he has them in. It's temperature controlled, humidity controlled.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
all
it, man.
worthless. Oh, so
sadly, yes.
The speaking of DC, I don't think we talked about this on the show much. We all know Batman v Superman. We've talked that one to death, but Suicide Squad. I saw something the other day, and it's gotten me curious what people are thinking. They're saying two things about it. Number one, that this could be the death of the franchise before it starts.
Oh, good grief.
And
wow, why don't you say how you really feel?
And a lot of it's coming from, they're saying that extras who have been involved and people who've been involved with the production are saying it has a Schumacher feel to it.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no. I hope not. Oh.
Like they went over the top with it. Like they did.
Why? You know, if there was ever a remake of the Adam West Batman, it was Schumacher's version.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, because I love the original 60s Batman. I still watch them in reruns, and I've got them on DVD and just stuff around here that I just get a hankering for it once in a while. But the thing is, just to pay millions of dollars to make a movie and save a franchise and make millions of profit, why would you put that type of, you know, Bam spoof type of Batman on anything? If they do that with this movie, they will definitely change the franchise for DC, and it's already on thin ice anyway.
Right.
I mean, if they don't make a success with back to Batman versus Superman, if they don't make a success with this movie, they're going to have a problem. They already know that.
Yeah, they might as well just have Hans Zimmer do the score too, you know? It's just...
Wow.
Just if you're going to nail the coffin, you might as well, you know, add that to it just to make sure.
Shot on ice. Dead shot on ice. Wow. Yeah. You know, Will Smith is playing in it. You know, they've got their own version of Harley Quinn, which is really, really interesting. I've been seeing a lot of feedback and complaints about that. You know, everybody's screaming, "That's not Harley Quinn." Well, if they say it's Harley Quinn, that's Harley Quinn. But, yeah, you know, she's the leader of a rock band and she goes crazy, and, the Joker is supposed to be behind the scenes as her manager, and she's got a goon squad and she's a major villain for him. It's just crazy.
Yeah, they're not following the, she was his psychiatrist storyline.
As apparently John didn't know this by his reaction.
That sound, everyone, is John's head exploding.
Now I just want to see Bruce Timm, like, take a drive over there and beat some heads. Because, you know, that doesn't make any sense. Oh.
Well, look it up, man. I mean, it's all over Facebook for it. Look up the Suicide Squad page, and you'll see.
That's why I didn't see it. It's on Facebook.
Yeah, the setup is, well, yeah. The setup is just awful. They, like I said, they've got her running around in black and red leather pants and black and red jeans that are cut up and skimpy Daisy Duke shorts at one point. She's got tattoos and she's running around with a mic stand and a bat
So
instead
it's
of
a
a
fan
mallet.
service.
Pretty much, yeah.
Actually, that sounds like the Harley Quinn from Bruce Tinn's Gods and Monsters.
It's pretty close. If you like that version, yeah, you'll like this one. Because that is pretty close to where they're going with her as far as a character. She's got the pigtails on either side now, and like I said, she's rocking it as a punk rocker. So, I've seen the clips of... Oh, go ahead.
It doesn't make her as interesting a character. The whole point was she was a psychiatrist. The Joker
That
turned her,
crossover,
but
right.
she still has that insight into how people's minds work, and uses
And that's what
that
makes it so crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also the Joker has a grill and tattoos, which, I heard Kevin Smith point at this. No, not Kevin Smith. The other guy that does the Fat Man on Batman with. Oh, my mind just went blank. But anyway, on Fat Man on Batman, they were talking about it, and they said the issue is that he has tattoos that a Joker fan would have.
Huh.
The laughing and the. I think there's even the smiles and stuff. Like, yeah, if you were a fan of the comic book, you would get those tattoos, not the Joker himself.
But this one is supposed to be very. You know how the Joker is. He's very very psychotic and very driven and very focused on changing the world to be like him, to be liberated, and that's his political mindset and that's his social mindset. In the Chris Nolan movies, Heath Ledger covered that the best because he said, flat out, chaos is beauty, right. That kind of thing. And with this style, they're going with the Batman and Robin version, Jim Lee and Frank Miller's Batman and Robin run, where they actually made him it was either, I don't remember, it's 5, 6, or 7, right in there when he was running around. They have a cover.
Computer fell asleep.
And I like that aspect, actually, because he takes an egotistical stance and says, I want to make the world like me in my image, which gives him the Antichrist type of scenario.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why your computer always cuts out at the most interesting stuff you're saying?
Did it fall off? I didn't even see it blink. Did it fall? Did Skype drop me?
I don't know. You cut off for like a couple seconds again.
I'll repeat it real quick. Crash course version. Basically what I was saying was this version of the Joker, if you read Batman and Robin, number 5 through 7 or 8-ish around in there, the Joker shows himself where he kills a prostitute and he's standing there shirtless and he has those same style tattoos on, and it's an Antichrist mentality that they're trying to give to the Joker to make him the ultimate villain for that genre. And if they pull it into the movie universe, I think it's going to be a great pull. I really, really do. Because he's all about making chaos the world stage of freedom. That's his version of freedom.
True. But I think, I don't know. There's still part of me that likes
Don't they already have a rogues gallery guy named Anarchy?
Well, again, man, you got to go back to that though. Again, it's Warner Brothers foothold.
I think
true.
I think you can sum the Joker up in one simple line. I'm the world's first homicidal artist. I make art until somebody dies.
Exactly. Yeah. Classic.
So on that note, I think we did it, guys. Rusty, we don't know where you are. We're sorry that, we missed you tonight. We hope everything is okay. Maybe, let us know what happened and we'll definitely reschedule you, and, we can bring Brad back for that as well. And
he's probably setting up Brad's new computer, the one that disappeared.
See, there you go now. There you go. That computer's still out there somewhere, and that bothers me, man, because somebody took that sucker and it's got my name on the box. They said, so they're probably hanging on to it, going, "This is Brad Luner's computer." No,
I could understand if you'd signed it or touched it or licked it.
I know,
something.
If I'd have put a signature on it, but a print label. Come on, guys.
So Rusty, when you're done playing with Brad's new computer, give us a shout out. We'll reschedule you, and yeah, I think this town needs an enema. So on that note, as always, boys and girls, don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.
Okay, now it's my turn. Okay, what are you doing? Taking over Dad's mic so I can be part of superhero speak. Duh. Well, there are better ways to join the conversation. Really? Like what? Well, you can interact with them on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and even Pinterest. Wait, people use Pinterest? And what's Google+? I don't know, something to do with circles. Anyway, you can also see all their posts, including comic book videos, on their website, where you can also sign up for their mailing list. Cool! Yep, are you still going to try to hijack Dad's mic? Nope, I'm going to try to answer the stump the key question. Nice. So who do you think would win in a fight between Rainbow Dash and Squirrel Girl? Oh, that's a hard one. Oh no, Dad's waking up. My infinite lives!
Oh, what are you guys doing? That cape's gonna get caught in the door.